Hey, guess what? It's time for Making Kayfabe with your hosts, Bryce and Dylan.
It's that time again. Hello and welcome to the Making Kayfabe podcast. My name is Bryce. I'm here with my friend Dylan. And, missed opportunities in wrestling are a dime and a dozen. There's a lot of them around. Too many, perhaps. But what we do is we take that dime, we shine it up, we increase the valuation of that dime. We put it on eBay for all the coin collectors, and we make $1 million out of that dime. We've done it for 22 times now, or professional wrestlers in layman's terms, and we ain't slowing down anytime soon. And I've got a belter, an absolute belter of rebooking today. By the way, how about that intro?
That was really good. I wish we did do that. I wish that's how money worked. We could just shine up some dimes and make like £600.
Just make it like really shiny, yeah, and then people would want to buy it, yeah.
I bet they would, man.
I mean, would you want to buy like a dirty coin? I mean, if you got the most like rare coin in the world, and it's like covered in shit, like would you pay as much for that if it wasn't shiny?
I mean, maybe, because you could just clean it off yourself. But it's interesting. Is there any
Hmm.
coin collectors out there who also listen to the show? If so, please send us an email that explains our business.
Tell me, Dylan, what do you know about Taka Michinoku?
I know that he collects coins.
He's an avid coin collector.
I know this for a fact because he bid against me on eBay for a particularly rare coin, and I am still mad about it to this day. I'll answer your question correctly now, Bryce. Taka Michinoku would have been around the WWE or WWF at the time. Whenever I started watching, I started in like 2000, I think. So prime Taka Michinoku time. If you watch Sunday Night Heat, which I did every Sunday, so I got to see a lot of Taka. That's why my favorite wrestlers are like Al Snow and Too Cool. It's the guys that appear
Sunday Night Heat crew,
on Sunday Night Heat. So Taka and Funaki used to appear quite a bit. I remember one day on Sunday Night Heat, backstage, they picked a fight with Sergeant Slaughter. That's right, long retired wrestler, Sergeant Slaughter. So he comes out on Sunday Night Heat and has a handicap match against both members of Kaientai and wins easily.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God.
What the fuck? I'm like, who the fuck is Sergeant Slaughter? When I'm a kid watching this shit.
I wouldn't be surprised if this happened after the events of my rebooking as well, what we're going to talk about soon. But good God, 2-on-1 and losing to Sergeant Slaughter on fucking Heat. I mean,
what a weird, like, who thought that would be good for Sunday Night Heat? Like,
are you sure you didn't just make that up in your head? Because that does not sound right.
They haven't got that episode uploaded onto the network yet, so obviously I can't back it up. But let me tell you this, man. When you've seen that once, you never forget it.
Yeah.
Because they were making fun of his chin. Here's what happened. Do you remember a guy called Just Joe?
Joey Legend, right?
Yeah, he appeared like 4 times, and his gimmick was he would just stir stuff up backstage. So he was backstage with Kaientai. He doesn't speak Japanese, but he was like, "What did you guys say about Sergeant Slaughter?" And they were like, "We didn't say anything." But in Japanese. So he goes to Sergeant Slaughter and he goes, "Hey, Kaientai, we're making fun of your chin." And then I swear to God, this is true. And then Sergeant Slaughter goes, "Nobody makes fun of my chin. I'm going to fight those punks. Thanks, Just Joe." And then they have a match on Heat. Honest to God, dude, that is entirely 100% true.
Surely as well, Sergeant Slaughter well into his 50s at that point.
Yeah, like he hadn't wrestled a fucking match in, 10 years?
Fuck that, man, honestly. I don't want to talk about that anymore. That's awful.
Great television.
Oh man, it's funny because I didn't actually like plan on writing a rebooking of Taka for season 3, but like I think we were having a discussion in one of the bonus episodes about his WWF title match against Triple H, and then like after that, like ideas just started like floating into my head and what could have been done, and then like I put a video on the Twitter of like Taka, that near fall where, everyone beats up Triple H and then Taka almost gets the win. Just going out and runs and stuff, and just ideas kept popping into my head. It's like, I've got to do Taka. I have to do Taka. So yeah, I think Michinoku, he has a claim to be like one of the greatest junior heavyweights of all time. Certainly one of the greatest Japanese wrestlers to kind of come over to the Western world, but like many before him and many after him, he didn't quite reach his full potential, specifically in the WWF, as we'll discuss, and that makes me sad. Even sadder than hearing that him and Funaki lost to Sergeant Slaughter on Heat. So,
true story.
Yeah, go ahead.
There was Mick Foley used to say something way back in the day, where he said, if if wrestling was being booked based solely on wrestling talent, Taka Michinoku would have been world champion.
Did they really say that?
Yes, he did.
That's a good quote. I like that. I mean, yeah, because it's true as well. Because you will never see a bad Taka match. Because the guy could go.
You haven't seen the Sergeant Slaughter match?
Yeah. I'm sure at least the parts Taka was involved in would be good. That's the thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and I say could as well because the guy he still goes. He still goes to this day. 47 years old. As recently as last year, he was in the Best of the Super Juniors tournament in New Japan. And these days he's wrestling in his own promotion, Just Tap Out Pro Wrestling in Tokyo. And did you know, actually, this is something I found out just this week, but did you know that Jushin Thunder Liger's last match was with Taka Michinoku?
I did not know that.
And so, sorry, his last singles match, sorry. He had a few tag matches afterwards, but his last singles match, last time Jushin Thunder Liger ever wrestled a singles match was against Taka Michinoku. So there you go. So he's clearly still held in high regard if he's Jushin Liger's last singles match, So anyway, I'm giving away too much here. Like, should I go into a bit of a catch up on the subject of today's rebooking, Taka Michinoku?
Yes, but I assume there's going to be a lengthy paragraph about the Sergeant Slaughter. I mean, we've already covered the Sergeant Slaughter.
We've already covered it.
We don't have to. Yeah, we don't have to.
I mean, I had half an episode written on that, but that's
gonna be my rebooking of your rebooking.
Yeah, everything good happens in my rebooking, and then like next week he loses to fucking Sergeant Slaughter. Like, yeah.
Wait, dude, Sarge needed a win.
It's good for Taka to put over the young talent, Takao Yoshida made his pro wrestling debut in 1992, taking on the name Taka Michinoku as a sign of respect to his sensei, the great Sasuke, who owned Michinoku Pro Wrestling. And he spent his first 5 years of his career wrestling in his homeland in Japan for promotions such as Michinoku Pro, Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling, who were also mentioned in your episode last week on Mike Awesome. Yeah, there you go. So New Japan Pro Wrestling as well. So speaking of New Japan, in 1994 he actually wrestled in the Super J Cup, which also featured Black Tiger, which is Eddie Guerrero, Wild Pegasus, Chris Benoit, Dean Malenko, Hayabusa.
Wait, who was that Malenko guy?
Hayabusa, Liger, and the Great Sasuke. So he was already just a couple of years into his career. He was kind of rubbing shoulders with those guys, and shows you kind of the kind of potential he had. So he'd continued to wrestle in Japan until 1997, where he made his first trip to America to compete for ECW, and he'd compete in a 6-man tag match as a member of BWO Japan, the Japanese branch of the Blue World Order, and then he'd soon make his way to the WWF. Soon enough, he'd be entered into a tournament to crown the first ever WWF Light Heavyweight Champion, where he'd beat Devon Storm, aka Crowbar, in the quarterfinals, Aguila, aka S.A. Rios, in the semis, and finally Brian Christopher, aka Grandmaster Sexy, in the finals to become the very first ever WWF recognised light heavyweight champion. He held the light heavyweight championship for almost a year before losing it to Christian. And that brings me to this week's Kayfabe Conundrum, because Dylan, there were 9 other WWF recognised light heavyweight champions other than Michinoku and Christian. How many can you name?
I think I can name that's my time frame, dude. I think I can name a fair few.
You bet you can name all 9?
I think I'll have a good shot at it. I'll name a lot of them.
All right, I'm going to give you 30 seconds on the clock. So I'll say yes or no when you give me the guesses. All right.
We're not including Christian or Taka, right?
Not including Christian or Taka. So 9 others other than Christian or Taka. So okay. All right, the clock is going to go on in 3, 2, 1, go.
Gilbert was the champion for sure. X-Pac, Crash Holly, Jerry Lynn.
Yep.
Who else? Was that 4?
That's
Shit,
4.
I thought I could do a lot more than that. Who else was around? Spike Dudley? No.
Nope.
No. Funaki didn't win it.
Nope.
He won the Cruiserweight. Oh shit, dude.
X-Pac again. 4. X-Pac did win it, so yeah, you got 4 there. That's not bad. And you actually mentioned Gilbert, which I wasn't expecting, so that's one I didn't expect you to get. But so you mentioned Gilbert, Crash Holly, Jerry Lynn, and X-Pac. So the ones you missed out on were Essa Rios.
Dean Malenko and Scotty Duhati. Fuck.
Dean Malenko, Scotty Duhati. There you go. Jeff Hardy and Tajiri.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right.
The full list is, other than Taka Michinoku and Christian, was Gilbert, Essa Rios, Dean Malenko, Scotty Duhati, Crash Holly, Jerry Lynn, Jeff Hardy, X-Pac, and Tajiri were all WWF certified light heavyweight championship holders. So that was this week's Kayfabe Conundrum.
Yay! Did you ever see those matches with Scotty Duhati versus Dean Malenko? AKA Dean Malenko?
Yeah, Dean Malenko as Dean Malenko. I actually did, yeah. Literally, I was watching the Raw and SmackDown around this time to do research, and one of the episodes actually had Scotty Duhati defeating Dean Malenko for the light heavyweight championship. So, yeah, and very good match.
Good, man. Dude, Dean Malenko, man. We should do a Kayfabe, Making Kayfabe episode about Dean Malenko. And maybe his best friend, Perry Saturn, as well.
There's the joke. Anyway,
free comedy every week for you guys.
We give this away for free. It's unreal. But yeah, totally go back out and check out our Forgotten Radicals episode on Dean Malenko and Perry Saturn. It's a very good episode. But anyway, in 1998, Taka Michinoku started to be on the receiving end of attacks from Kaientai because, in their opinion, he'd become too Americanized, entering into a feud with them which spanned from Over the Edge in May 98 until Raw is War on August 3rd, 98, where Taka Michinoku turned on his tag team partner Val Venus in order to join his opponent, Kaientai. And then he and his new friends dragged Val Venus backstage with the sole intention of chopping his PP. Yeah. That's right. Taka had a change of heart, which led to Val Venus losing his dick. So it continued to be part of that faction until Togo, Teo, and Yamaguchi's left WWF, which relegated Kaientai to a tag team with just Taka and Funaki being the sole remaining members. They've basically become comedy jobbers, which is a damn shame for a man of Taka's ability, and maybe Funaki too, actually. I mean, Funaki was solid enough, but I don't think he ever had the potential that Taka did. But Taka, he would start cutting these like intentionally badly lip-synced promos on Raw, which would end in Funaki saying "Indeed," and that was enough to pass as excellent comedy in 1998. It's funny too because, like, believe it or not, like Taka can actually cut a pretty damn good promo. Obviously, they're in Japanese, but you can tell the guy has good delivery. Like you know how we have Asuka. We know Asuka's a good promo, even though she just screams in Japanese. Kind of like that. You don't have a clue what she's saying, but you can tell like you're engaged with it. And that's kind of like how Taka does it as well. But now we move on to the focal point of today's story, because on April 10th, 2000, on an episode of Raw, Taka Michinoku received a WWF title shot against Triple H completely out of the blue. Literally, legitimately out of the blue. That there was no build-up, just a match against Triple H for the WWF title. I watched this episode of Raw in preparation for this rebooking, and basically on this episode, Triple H was told that he'd have to defend his title, but he wasn't told against who. So Triple H, he's in the ring with Stephanie and Shane, and suddenly we cut to backstage where you got Bradshaw, Farouk, Funaki, and Taka. They're walking like badasses towards like the gorilla position, and Triple H starts freaking out, worrying that he's going to have to face all four of them. Turns out it's just Taka with the APA and Funaki backing him up. But good God, what a fucking match! Do you remember this match?
I do remember this match.
What a match! What a match! Like, I posted it on our Twitter page before, at Making Kayfabe, but there's a spot in the match where Triple H is outside the ring, so he gets kind of beaten up by Farouk. Bradshaw hits him with a clothesline from hell, throws him into the ring, and then Funaki hits him with a top rope drop kick right into Taka Michinoku's moonsault, and like, oh my God, like the nearest of near falls here, like 2.99999999. Like, you could not get closer to free, and the crowd were going fucking crazy for it. And yeah, we'll circle back to that in just a moment, because it is very crucial for today's rebooking. But there's basically no follow-up to this. Fucking nothing. And I other than maybe like losing to Sergeant Slaughter and Heat. But like I watched the SmackDown, the Raw, and even the following SmackDown and the following Raw again after Taka versus Triple H, just to make sure. And it wasn't even mentioned. Kaientai didn't even appear on any of the shows, not once. And after this, Kaientai, they'd have a few pops at the Tag Team Championships, never winning them. Taka would have a few more pops at the Light Heavyweight Championship, never reclaiming it. And then he left WWF, never to return, which is just a fucking shame. And I say that, but the guy had a very successful career back in his homeland, wrestling for numerous promotions up until today, basically. All Japan, New Japan, 2AW, Pro Wrestling Noah. He became a champion plenty of times, including a two-time IWGP Tag Team Champion with Dick Togo once and Taichi once. And like I said earlier, he's still going. He's doing pretty damn well for himself, so fair play to the lad. And like I say, he had Jushin Thunder's last match with him. And yeah, he's just he's a talented guy with great conditioning. And at 47, the guy's still probably got another good 5 years left in him at least. So, but anyway, that's Taka. Is there anything else you want to know, or should I tack a shot at rebooking Taka Michinoku as WWF champion?
I don't know if I should acknowledge what just happened.
I think I don't know if you heard my joke there. I said tack a shot.
What a great Bryce, you got me. You got everybody. To be actually, well, all joking aside, it's very hard to come up with a really good Taka Michinoku pun, and so I think Bryce really should be commended for that.
It took me 8 days to write this rebooking. Like, 7 of them were spent on that joke alone. So show me some fucking respect, man.
Exactly. We need to, this is that must have been like, I don't know how you did that, man. I couldn't come up with a Taka Michinoku pun like that.
If you like that joke, then you've got absolutely nothing to look forward to. So, yeah, I'm going to reboot Taka Michinoku. Do you want to hear it?
I really, really want to hear this.
So, here's what should have happened. So, as I said, let's circle on back to Taka Michinoku versus Triple H for the WWF Championship. Now, I sent you the clip. You remember the pop that Taka got when he came within an inch of beating the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny timing, but did you know that literally the next week on Raw, there actually was a famous unexpected title change, sort of, which got a huge pop. Like, do you remember what that was? So it'll be April of 2000.
Ooh.
Involving Triple H.
Oh, was that with Chris Jericho?
Yep, it was Jericho. That was the next week. I'm going to go on record right now, and it's a hell of a record to go on. And I'm going to say that if Taka Michinoku beat Triple H for the WWF Championship, he would have got an even bigger pop than what Jericho did. And I mean, like, because compare the odds of beating Triple H. Taka had no fucking chance in hell. Jericho, although unexpected, it was definitely more expected than like a random light heavyweight tag team wrestler, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm just going to say to kick it off. Farouk, he beats Triple H outside the ring. Bradshaw, he hits Triple H with a clothesline from hell. Rolls him back into the ring. Funaki's got the missile dropkick. Taka Michinoku has a diving moonsault to Triple H. Taka's going to cover Triple H, and Earl Hebner's going to count 1, 2, 3. The place is going to go fucking wild, and like they went fucking wild when Taka got the 2 count, and now imagine him, getting a 3 count in what will perhaps be like the most unexpected title win in the history of pro wrestling. So Taka gets his win.
Say that to David Arquette.
I mean, yeah. Oh boy, there's a rebooking in the future, but yeah, rebooking, just don't do it.
Yep.
But yeah, easiest episode ever. But yeah. So yeah, Taka gets the win, and he just fucking runs out of the ring. Like Triple H, he's going to get up immediately, and he's going to have that classic shocked expression on his face. Taka's going to run up the ramp with Funaki. El Hebner hands him the WWF Championship, and the acolytes are there on the ramp to stop anyone getting to Taka as he celebrates underneath the Titantron. Taka Michinoku is the WWF champion. He's the first wrestler to win both the WWF Light Heavyweight Championship and what effectively is their Heavyweight Championship. And that's rebooking. I hope you enjoyed it.
And then David Arquette comes out, and we all remember the WWF Heavyweight Championship is 24/7 rules. So he rolls up Taka on the entrance ramp. 1, 2, 3. David Arquette, he doesn't even work for that company. He works for WCW, but good God, he turned up on Monday Night Raw. The ratings go through the roof.
And then it goes from bad to worse for Taka, because then Just Joe shows up and has a chat with Sergeant Slaughter, and then Sergeant Slaughter takes him on a 2-on-1. No, we're not going down that route. So yeah, in all seriousness, in all seriousness, like that's going to be our starting point. So that is literally, I'm going to keep it the same way. No build to the match or anything. Just a totally random, kind of surprising WWF Championship win by Taka Michinoku. So that's where we're starting today. So that match, actually, it wasn't actually the main event of Raw. It was halfway through the show, believe it or not. So the main event in real life was The Rock facing a surprise opponent in a steel cage match. So if The Rock were to win, he was allowed a shot at Triple H's WWF Championship, which now, of course, is Taka Michinoku's WWF Championship as we speak right now. So The Rock's surprise opponent actually turned out to be two opponents, which was Big Boss Man and our boy Bill Buchanan. And what we're going to do for this match is add a slight alteration. So you know how steel cage matches in wrestling are designed to keep people out, but they don't actually keep people out?
Yeah.
Well, this is no exception. So during the match, The Rock's he's gonna be getting the better of Boss Man and Bull, but old cerebral assassin Triple H, he's gonna wander out, he's gonna enter the cage, and thanks to the no disqualification in cage matches, we're gonna make it a 3-on-1 match. So handicap match. So an even bigger handicap match, but. The Rock can handle Big Boss Man and Bull Buchanan, but he can't handle Boss Man, Bull, and Triple H. So eventually, the three men are going to get the better of him. Big Boss Man pins The Rock, and that's that. The Rock doesn't get his championship match against Taka. So you're going to get Triple H on the mic, and he's going to say, "Rocky, I'm sorry I had to do this, but I'll be damned if you're taking my shot at my WWF Championship. That son of a bitch Taka screws me over tonight, and if anyone's going to take that belt off him, it's me." The Rock is down and out, having had his ass kicked. But because of this, now you've got Triple H and The Rock fighting each other. Those two, they want to kick each other's ass because they think that they deserve the next shot at Taka. So Triple H, because of the Flash pinfall earlier, which cost him his title, and The Rock, because he was screwed over in the steel cage match, which he was on the way to winning against the Big Boss Man and Bill Buchanan. So Backlash is going to be in a few weeks, and in real life, who'd have thunk it, but the main event already was The Rock versus Triple H. So that's what we're going to stick with. Not straying too far from reality here. The Rock and Triple H are going to build their feud towards Backlash, which will be a number one contenders match for Taka's WWF Championship. So the good thing about this is that it takes the heat off Taka in the meantime, so we can have a little bit of fun in the run to Backlash. So I had a few funny ideas for Taka, and let the record show, I'm not going to be booking Taka as a Triple H-esque dominate everybody world champion. I'm playing fully into the fact that this was completely unexpected, even for Taka. So I'm making this as realistic as possible. There's going to be some comedy, but at the same time, we're gonna make the fans back Taka even more with it. So. The first idea I had was involving the APA. So the SmackDown after Taka wins the title, he's going to go into APA's office, their little kind of a backstage office with a door but no walls. And he's going to ask for more protection since he's now the WWF champion and fucking everybody is going to be coming for him. Bradshaw and Farouk, they're going to have a little think about it, and they're going to have a little private discussion, and they'll come back to Taka, and they're going to say, yeah, we'll protect you, man, but it's going to cost you way more money than it did on Raw. We've got premium rates for world champions, which is exactly what you are, so you're going to have to pay us triple. Otherwise, you're going to get your ass handed to you the moment you walk out of this office. The camera's going to pan, and you're going to see 5 or 6 kind of lower mid-card-esque kind of superstars, all of them waiting for Taka Michinoku outside the APA's office. So, in the year 2000, you had your guys like S.A. Rios, you had Scotty 2 Hotty, you had the Headbangers, Mean Street Posse, Dean Malenko, a.k.a. Dean Malenko.
That's the hardcore division that you're describing right there.
Basically, yeah, lower mid-carders kind of thing. So, just we're going to have those guys waiting for Taka to leave the office because they want a piece of him. They're under no illusions. They think that this is their opportunity to gain themselves a WWF title shot because, let's be honest here, it's going to be a hell of a lot easier to take out WWF champion Taka Michinoku than it is to take out WWF champion Triple H or, WWF champion The Rock, for example. So Taka's shit, they got me here. He knows that he needs protection. I mean, who's going to protect him, Funaki? So he hands over the money, and the APA they're now the full-time protection for Taka Michinoku, the WWF champion. So he's been protected by the Acolytes. They leave their office with Taka, accompanying him to his locker room, while they kind of stare down the headbangers and co. who were previously going to attack Taka, but now they're too scared to. So I was thinking another cool thing you can do with Taka, and maybe we introduce this on the following Raw while he cuts a promo, but you remember Kaintai's promos, right? They'd shout Japanese into like a dead microphone, and Bruce fucking Pritchard's voice would sound over the PA system and pretend it's them talking. Ha 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 ha, so funny. But now that Taka's champion, there's been a development. When Taka Michinoku gets the microphone, gone is that stupid voice with Funaki saying "Indeed" afterwards. It's out of here. Taka's going to speak full Japanese to the audience, but crucially, he now has subtitles. Accurate subtitles. So they're going to appear at the bottom of your television screen at home or on the Titantron if you're on the arena, so that everybody can follow along with what the champ is saying, even if they don't speak Japanese. So pretty crazy, right? It's let the fans understand their champion. But Taka, he's going to cut a promo, a big proper babyface promo with these subtitles because he paid for them with his championship wages. So the APA and Funaki are there too. It's going to say something brief like, my friends, thank you for the support since my victory over Triple H. I won't lie to you, the victory shocked me too. And still, 2 weeks later, I'm worried I'm going to wake up from the greatest dream of my life. Weirdly though, as I speak to you now, the WWF seem to have forgotten about me. All of the focus is on Triple H and The Rock, and not the WWF champion. Perhaps they think that I'm not as marketable as the real stars. This is fine with me. I'm going to go back to Tokyo to greet my people. They'll be happy to see me. I am told I have made all of Japan very proud. So, yeah. Just a quick reminder, Triple H and The Rock still feuding with that match set for Backlash for the #1 contendership for Taka Michinoku's WWF Championship. So, anyway, next week, we're going to have a segment where Taka, he returns to his homeland, he greets the fans in Tokyo as WWF champion. So in kayfabe, he's the second ever Japanese wrestler to win the title, but we all know he's really the first. Fuck you, Yokozuna. So it can be a nice, like, wholesome celebration with the fans being so happy to see him. You take pictures with him, pose with him, with the belt, etc. Like, Funaki's there too, for escorting his friend around, happy to be in his homeland. And, of course, so are the APA, fulfilling their duties and protecting the champ. I mean, just imagining Farouk and Bradshaw, like, towering over all these Japanese fans, like, looking all pissed off with their arms crossed, like, that made me laugh, so I had to include it. So on the next show, as it stands now, so Backlash is coming up this week. And while we've got Triple H versus The Rock for the #1 contendership, we don't actually have a WWF Championship match. Well, Taka's going to be in the ring of SmackDown before Backlash, and who else but Vince McMahon is going to come out and speak to him. So Vince was the main authority figure back then. There wasn't really a GM or anything. Like, he was the one making matches along with Stephanie and Shane and Triple H. And Mr. McMahon, he's got a microphone and he's going to say to Taka, Taka, Backlash is in a few days and you don't currently have a match to defend your championship. So contractually, you need to defend that title. It's a pay-per-view and we need the biggest prize in the game on the line. Now, you won't be main eventing, of course. That's for the real superstars like Triple H and The Rock. But we'll make sure you get a prominent spot on the card. I don't care who you get, quite frankly, but god damn it, I better have a WWF Championship match at my pay-per-view. And if you don't pick someone, then I'll pick. And let me tell you, you won't like who I pick. Anyway, Vince fucks off.
Vince is like, it's going to be me.
Yeah.
I pick myself.
Taka Michinoku versus Mr. McMahon.
Can't be any worse than Sergeant Slaughter.
That would be a good match. Like, yeah, that would be a very good match. I'd buy that. Anyway, like, so Vince goes away, and soon we're going to arrive at Backlash. So we are now at the pay-per-view Backlash. So in the main event, you've got The Rock versus Triple H for the #1 contendership for the WWF Championship, and you've also got Taka versus somebody for the WWF Championship. So nobody knows who it is yet. So, but before Taka goes out to defend his title, you've got kind of one of those backstage segments, with Kaintai, Taka and Funaki. They're joined by the APA, but it's Taka and Funaki who are doing the talking. Like, Bradshaw and Farouk, they don't really have a clue what's being said. They can't understand a word of Japanese, and they don't have the subtitles. So Funaki's saying to Taka, he's saying, in Japanese with the subtitles, which they can now afford, don't pick an opponent tonight. Mr. McMahon is just bluffing. You're going to get either Triple H or The Rock after Backlash. Who could they possibly pick to fight you? Everyone else in the roster is occupied, and the ones who aren't are terrified of the APA. And you only won the belt a couple of weeks ago. You deserve the night off. It'll be fine. And Taka doesn't seem too sure. Like, he doesn't know what Mr. McMahon is hiding up his sleeve, but he takes his friend's advice. He doesn't select an opponent and decides to go out to the ring later and push his luck in the hope that he doesn't actually have to defend his title. So in the match before the main event, which of course is Triple H versus The Rock, the real superstars, Taka's going to come out and he's in the ring with Funaki and he doesn't have a clue who his opponent's going to be. Or even if he has an opponent, who knows? His music stops and then he's just waiting. He's looking around, wondering who he's going to have to defend his title against, probably expecting, no chance in hell to hit the speakers, followed by Mr. McMahon coming out to seal his fate. And this goes on for a good 30, 40 seconds with the crowd they're buzzing in anticipation, but there's nothing. Nobody comes out. It's starting to look like they actually didn't have an opponent lined up for Taka to defend his title against. But then the referee asks him to hand over his WWF Championship in preparation for a title match. And Taka's confused. He's not seen his opponent. He's not heard any entrance music. But he agrees to it. He hands over the belt to the referee. And then the referee rings the bell. Funaki propels himself across the ring and blasts Taka into the turnbuckle with a drop kick. Taka falls to the mat. Funaki covers him. 1, 2. Taka kicks out. And now we have a match in our hands. Taka Michinoku defending his WWF Championship against his tag team partner and best buddy Funaki in one of the featured matches on a WWF pay-per-view. And there's a match I bet you never thought you'd hear. But the fans would go fucking wild for it with that twist. And we're gonna give this match some time. Both guys could go. Funaki doesn't get much props, but the guy was an accomplished mat wrestler and high flyer. It could have certainly hung with Taka and put on a hell of a match. But in the end, we're going to have Taka win and make his first successful defense of the WWF title, because we need to give the guy some credibility. We can't forget that Taka is a damn good wrestler, and he had Triple H, at his limit before the interference in the match. So although, we're including some comedy aspects in his title run, we have to make it clear that Taka is capable of handling himself when push comes to shove. After the match, you can see Taka Michinoku backstage, and he's going proper crazy at the APA. You didn't protect me. They're we didn't know that your own goddamn partner was going to try and take that belt off you. We were looking at everyone else. So anyway, Taka's furious. He's paid good money to be protected, and he wasn't. And although Bradshaw and Farouk, they're not too pleased about being shouted at by a man who's half the size of them. They do appreciate that this gig is good money, and they'd be silly to do what they want to do, which is, kick Taka's ass. Well, while the going is good. So, Bradshaw's going to try and reason with Taka. He's going to say, all right, we failed at our job. We understand that. We're very sorry. How can we make it up to you? So there's only one final match to go on the Backlash card, and it's the main event. It's Triple H versus The Rock for the #1 contendership to Taka Michinoku's WWF Championship. And it could have been for Funaki's WWF Championship, but as we witnessed earlier, but thankfully it's not. It's Taka's, and after his successful defense against a surprise opponent. So the match between Triple H and The Rock, it's going to be your classic WWF 2000 pay-per-view main event. We'll let it go the full 20 minutes, etc. But towards the end, they're going to do a double down spot in the ring, and something's going to happen. So you probably called it, but Taka Michinoku is going to come down to the ring, and he's holding his championship, and he's going to be joined by the APA, and they're just going to waltz into the ring, and without any such warning, they're going to start beating the shit out of Triple H and The Rock. So the bell rings for a DQ. It's clear, it's a clear no contest between the two in the main event of the pay-per-view. The APA and Taka are going to just decimate the two main eventers. This actually goes against the APA's codes, technically, because they strictly, protect rather than being hired guns. But they've got reason to do this tonight and help Taka beat up these guys that, that strictly is money and making up for Taka for failing to protect him from Funaki earlier. So anyway, they beat them up. Taka's going to get in the mic, And he's going to end the show just by saying 6 words. In fact, 6, maybe 7 actually, depending on your definition. But whatever. He's going to look directly into the hard camera, standing over the body of the Triple H and The Rock, and he's going to say, "Who's the real superstar now, Vince?" And then he'll smile, and we'll fade to black. Cliffhanger ending for Backlash. You know, you're immediately going to get people excited to tune into Raw to see where this goes. So I'm almost done here, but I think I've set up Taka for success. You know, even if it's only brief success, but I've got a little bit more. So see. This is where we're going to go into a bit of basic booking. I mean, like, you tell me, you've got a number 1 contenders match, and the champion interferes, forcing it to end in disqualification with no real winner. If you're the booker, what do you do?
It's got to be a triple threat match, right?
Yep, it's a triple threat match. You're absolutely spot on, my friend.
This is why you and me are real legitimate bookers in wrestling.
Exactly.
It's 100% true, and we've been saying this for years, but here's the proof.
Exactly. The proof is in the pudding right there. So
we are pudding.
We're pudding. But and there's nothing wrong with that, though. I mean, nothing wrong with basic booking, because, like, it makes sense. Wrestling isn't all about shocking people. Sometimes you've just got to book what actually makes sense. Like with AEW, for example, like, just going a little bit off kind of hand here, but I can probably tell you where 90% of their stories are going to go right now, and often it turns out that I'm right, but that doesn't spoil the enjoyment at all. You know, I enjoy it because it reaches a logical conclusion, which WWF stories barely fucking do. But that's exactly what we're going to do here with Taka. We're going to make a logical conclusion. So, in short, Taka feels slighted. You know, he's starting to get really pissed off. He's won this title by pinning the number 1 guy in the company, and while the fans fucking love it, it's been made clear that the authority, as we should be called them, don't really give a shit. You know, it has barely been mentioned by Triple H or The Rock in their promos in the build-up to their match for his title. He didn't have a match locked in for Backlash. Mr. McMahon told him that he wouldn't be the main event because of the real superstars, which he clearly isn't. And then to top things off, he gets attacked by his own best buddy, who, you know, was trying to take his title, which shouldn't have happened anyway, because the fucking APA were hired to protect the guy. So Taka's pissed, and he's got every fucking right to be, and that's only going to make him a more endearing character. So Mr. McMahon's going to come out in the Raw after Backlash, and he's going to announce the next big WWF Championship match. We're going to have a triple threat match with Taka Michinoku defending his WWF Championship against both Triple H and The Rock. And there's another match I bet you never thought you'd hear. But yeah, we'd have that at one of the next pay-per-views, whether that's Insurrection or, you know, the UK only pay-per-view or Judgment Day. By the way, like, here's a quick one. Do you want to hear what the tagline for Insurrection 2000 was?
It's gonna suck.
No, but
something to do with Crown Jewels or something, probably.
No, actually, but it's something to do with something. The tagline for Insurrection 2000 was, "London Bridge isn't the only thing that's falling down."
The fuck does that even mean?
I don't know if it was falling down.
What?
That's the tagline. That is the tagline. And legit, like, according to Wikipedia anyway, which is basically gospel. So.
Oh, that's great, but not in a good way.
Yeah. London Bridge is the only thing that's fallen down. Like, they're really struggling for a tagline with that one. But anyway, like, what can we say about London? Like, it's got that bridge, right? And the nursery rhyme, and we can tape the only thing's falling down. Like, just, oh, God's sake, man.
Remember how that bridge fell down fucking 500 years ago, and they made a nursery rhyme about it? That's probably relevant to professional wrestling in America. You know what's kind of like a bridge? Wrestlers are sort of like bridges. So, like, what's kind of like a bridge? Oh dear.
Anyway, like, that's London Bridge aside, like, that is basically the end of my rebooking. But to round things off, I don't think Taka should have actually had a long run if he was given the title. You know, it should have been just short of a flash in the pan thing for him being a main eventer, but it also should have been enough to propel him up the card to be more than just a comedy jobber. Like, he'd have the title for 1 month, maybe 2, and that would serve him and wrestling really well. Why wrestling, you may ask? Because wrestling needs moments like these. Wrestling thrives in moments like these. Like, not just the unexpected, but because even the unexpected is expected in wrestling these days, thanks to the internet. But the truly unexpected, not one person in that building on April 10th, 2000, legitimately thought that Taka was beating Triple H. Not a fucking chance. Like, Triple H was being pushed just way too hard at that point. But they still popped for the near fall because they wanted it. If Taka won the title, it would set a precedent for the next decade or two where, like, if somebody lower on the card goes up against a solidified main eventer, that there's still a chance for a major upset because, as we will have seen with Taka, it has happened before. And as it stands in wrestling, we don't have too many things like that, which makes the believability in these kind of matches very low. So, yeah, like I'd absolutely advocate for either Triple H or The Rock pinning Taka in that WWF Championship match triple threat. They gave Taka a shot at Stardom, and it'd go down in history as one of the most kind of unexpected WWF Championship holders of all time. But in a good way, and that he earned it and told a good story while champion. Not in the Jinder Mahal way, for example.
I was gonna say, like, you didn't do that.
Yeah, exactly. He's the prime
like
example.
A bridge.
But yeah, he's a bit like a bridge, isn't he? But
he's always falling down.
Yeah, but I'll descend from my soapbox. Like, that was my booking of Taka Michinoku as WWF champion. What do you think?
I thought, well, let me tell you this. Whenever you started talking about Taka and Triple H in that match, one thing I thought you were going to do, and then very quickly realized why you didn't do it, was pull the old, like, Montreal screw job on, like, Triple H, and then have Taka, like, run away and be like, how do you like it?
Yeah.
But then I'm like, it's not in Montreal, and Taka Michinoku has got nothing to do with the Hart family, so that's probably why that didn't happen. Lots of reasons why that didn't happen. But I like the angle of Taka Michinoku coming out. He's like, he's won the belt. He's beaten Triple H. He defended his championship at a pay-per-view. I like him coming out and going, can you believe this? Like, I'm your champion, whether or not the boss likes it or not. Nobody's talking about me. They're talking about the championship. Nobody, I had to defend against my best friend who stabbed me in the back. Like what the hell? Nobody's giving me respect. Vince McMahon, the owner of the company, says that I'm not good enough to be in the main event. This is ridiculous. Like, yeah, I like that bit because you could up to that point you could see you were teasing to that. You were making it clear that that's how the company saw Taka Michinoku, which is probably true. Yeah. And that, like you said, that kind of feeds into like real life. That's legit, and that's a good way to get a guy like that over, because one of the things they weren't doing with Kai and Tai was actually giving them a reason to get over, like the pretend, like, voiceover promos that we do. Haha, that's hilarious, isn't that funny? But like, it's not a good way to build up a legitimate fucking guy, right? It's a comedy spot you can do twice. Of course they did it for like 3 months. Because that company, haha, racism's hilarious. That's a WWE for you. So I think it could work. And like you said, it's one of those stories. Like, you look at Daniel Bryan. The company seemed pretty against him winning, and him getting like all the shit he went through to get to WrestleMania. It made the crowd want the win. Like, it wasn't just because they liked Daniel Bryan, all they did. It was the whole story. It told, that was the culmination of it. And that's the kind of thing you don't get these days, like you said. So, yeah, interesting stuff. Very interesting,
Thank you.
What I thought you were going to do when you had him, like, running up the ramp, I thought you were going to, like, make him do a CM Punk and be like, I'm going to Tokyo, bitches! He just fucks
I'll
off.
see you in New Japan. Like.
Yeah, I'd be like, what? Because then, like, they could do, like, a tour of Japan, get the belt back.
Yeah. That would be cool, actually, yeah.
But it's like you said, like, once you kind of establish it, once you put the groundwork there, there's options for that after, like, where Taka can go after that,
Yeah.
But all they had to do is put the groundwork there to begin with, which they fucking didn't.
Yeah, that's it, man. Like, Taka, he's so fucking underappreciated, and like, just a hell of a wrestler. And like this, like I say, like, I'm not expecting Taka to be like the longest reigning WWF champion of all time. Like, get him that career highlight, that unexpected victory, and then like once he loses Triple H or once he loses to The Rock or whatever, he's not going to go back to being a comedy jobber, or fucking hopefully, as long as Sergeant Slaughter doesn't fucking get involved. But like, he's he'll be elevated to like mid card, upper mid card, like Intercontinental Championship kind of place. Like maybe do that subtitles gimmick with him so that fans can understand him, or maybe get him a manager or something like that. But Taka always put on a good match against whoever he was in the ring with. Still to see that Sergeant Slaughter match, but just a total waste of talent, total missed opportunity in wrestling, and that's why we're here, I suppose. Yeah.
Also, like you said, in real life, they did that same thing with Chris Jericho at the same time.
Yeah, literally the next week.
Exactly. So, like, up to that point, Jericho had been wrestling China.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he had a spot in the roster, but people weren't going, there is a heavyweight champion for you. You know what I mean? Like, he hadn't got to that point yet. So for him to win the belt like that, people fucking, flip their shit. And it's, so if it could happen with Jericho, it could happen with Taka. They had the match. They had the Triple H match. It could totally have happened,
Yeah, easy to do. They already had it set up, and like, why not, kind of thing. And like, Jericho. Remember, Jericho kind of lost the title like 20 minutes later or something. But
that night they took it back. It didn't happen.
Yeah, that didn't happen. Like, it definitely happened. Yeah, it was on the network. So, and do you know what's funny as well? Actually, I think I mentioned it to you, but literally, at this time. This rebooking is literally at the same time of your rebooking last week. Of April of 2000 was when Mike Awesome made his. It must have been when he made his WCW debut, because on one of the SmackDowns after this, Taz comes out with the ECW Championship, having just won it. So it's totally unplanned, but it was around the same time as your rebooking from last week. So funny how that works out. Like exact same time, but. But that was Taka Michinoku, and you should totally check out Taka Michinoku's matches. He's got plenty of matches online right now for his promotion that he's running right now on Daily Motion, and and he's still I think he's in Suzuki-gun and New Japan Pro Wrestling, so he's still around and he's still wrestling really good matches, and just a hell of a talent, and always got time for Taka Michinoku. But do you know what else I got time for?
Sergeant Slaughter.
No, well, yeah, I'm gonna have to see that match now. I'm gonna have to see that.
Now that, like, once you see the match, you'll be like, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just,
it's gonna be pretty. The result's pretty bad, but I guarantee Sergeant Slaughter had a good match with Taka Michinoku. But I don't know. We'll see. I'll watch it after this episode and we'll see. But anyway, you totally ruined my segue there. But you know what it's time for?
What is it time for now, Bryce?
It's time for a little bit of Kayfabe Tambola.
Woo! That's the audience being like, yeah,
Yeah.
That in for ambience.
Our whole audience there. But yeah, it's just it's Kayfabe Tambola. It's another fan submitted one, and this week it's coming from listener Tom Williams on Twitter. So he's at Tom Williams 1990, and he's got some pelters for you today, my friends. So
thank you, Tom Williams.
So if you are listening to Making Kayfabe for the first time, you're going to have no fucking idea what Kayfabe Tambola is, so allow me to explain. So what I have here is 4 professional wrestlers, or bridges, numbered 1 to 4. And already fucked up. I couldn't resist. We have 4 professional wrestlers, numbered 1 to 4, and 4 scenarios lettered A to D. So my friend Dylan here, say hello, Dylan.
Hi.
Is going to give me a number letter combination like a 4C or a 2D, and then he's going to have 60 seconds to spin a world-class, like just impeccable wrestling storyline with the wrestler and scenario that he's been given. So in the past, we've heard about how Sabu formed a tag team with God, how Rob Van Dam became a space cowboy, and even just a couple of weeks ago, we found out that the Shockmaster was actually the father of the Road Warriors. So, it's always good fun.
That one took us on a trip.
That was a trip, yeah, definitely. It's funny because Shockmaster tripped over the wall, didn't he? So, hey.
He's always falling down.
Yeah, he's a bridge. The bridge master.
We did it twice. We got it in again.
Shockmaster isn't the only thing that's falling down. Give me your number letter combination.
I would like 4B.
4B, okay. Nice. That's a good one. So, let's see what the listener Tom Williams has in store for you. And by the way, Tom, thanks for these, mate. It's very, very good selections. So, you want number 4. So, do you want to see who you could have had?
Yeah.
You could have had Viscera,
Oh, thank fuck.
You didn't get Viscera.
Well, thank the Lord.
You also could have had The Undertaker.
Okay.
You didn't get him.
Mm.
You also could have had John Cena.
Oh,
You didn't
okay.
get him. Because it's an all-star lineup here, by the way. Viscera, Undertaker, John Cena.
Whoa, wait. An all-star lineup? You can't
All-star.
put John Cena at the same
Level as Viscera.
level as Viscera?
Oh, boy. You didn't get John Cena. Do you know who you did get?
Yes.
You got Rey Mysterio.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. And yeah, like just no, you putting Viscera in there with like names like Undertaker, Cena, and Mysterio. That's a real Making Kayfabe fan right there.
Yeah,
So
he knows his audience.
Exactly. Cheers for that, Tom. So what you gave me 4B, right?
Yes.
All right. So what you didn't get was Rey Mysterio travels back in time to change the result of the steroid scandal.
Why? Oh, did he get? Oh, he gets suspended for that, didn't he?
I don't know. No, or maybe actually, yeah, because that was there was one that happened like 2006 or something. I don't know, can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go. Anyway, you're telling us why, but that's not even the one. So
I know. As soon as I said it, I'm like, that's the game.
why? Oh yeah, that's literally
Like,
the game. Right? You didn't get that.
Okay.
You also didn't get Rey Mysterio leaves WWE to revive WCW, which kind of would have made sense a little bit.
That
Yeah.
could work.
Yeah, just goes back to kind of losing to Kevin Nash and losing his mask. You could have had Rey Mysterio becomes president of the USA and uses their power to put themselves over in WWE.
Okay, I don't think you have to become the president of the United States to do that, but also I could. Okay, fair enough.
You didn't get that, and what you got, the making kayfabe Bowler you've got today, my friend, is Rey Mysterio travels back in time to force Hulk Hogan to lose to Andre the Giant.
What? A lot of time travel in this one.
Yeah, there's two time traveling ones. Yeah.
Do I have to explain how a time machine works as well?
Oh no, it's obvious, isn't it? It's just you step in and it takes you back in time. That's how time machines work, right?
You have a time machine?
Well, yeah.
Can I borrow it? I need to go force Hulk Hogan to lose to Andre the Giant.
Oh my god. Yeah, so Rey Mysterio travels back in time to force Hulk Hogan to lose to Andre the Giant. So are you ready, my friend? Are you ready to tell us all about that?
I mean, not really, because didn't Andre the Giant beat Hulk Hogan at some point?
I'm assuming this is the famous match at WrestleMania 3, is it?
We slammed him?
Yeah, the big slam, yeah.
Yeah, the big old slam. All right.
Yeah. When Hulk Hogan hit Andre the Giant with the 619 and then the West Coast Pop and then pinned him, do you remember that?
No, that was before my time.
Oh, right, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I came in at Sunday Night Heat. Hello. Sergeant Slaughter, anybody?
Oh, God. All right, my friends. Are you ready to rock with this?
I mean, yeah, sure. Let's just.
All right.
You put a minute on the clock. I'll open my mouth and let's just see what the fuck comes out.
Let's see what comes out. All right. You're going to have 1 minute to tell me all about how Rey Mysterio travels back in time to force Hulk Hogan to lose to Andre the Giant. I'm assuming at WrestleMania 3. Here we go. I'm going to give you a countdown. I'm going to give you 3, 2, 1. Travel back in time.
So Rey Mysterio goes to the set of Back to the Future where they have the car because he's like, this is a time machine. Here we go. I need to go back in time to change the world, to make Hulk Hogan do a job to at least somebody. And the one who makes the most sense is Andre the Giant. So he gets in the car and he does the driving thing where it's like 6 miles an hour. And he goes back in time. But he like goes to the wrong one. He goes too far or not far enough. I'm not sure how time travel works. And he ends up in Japan where Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant are. So he's like, all right, fuck, this will have to do. And what he does is they're having a fight in that timeline. And so Hulk Hogan's about to slam Andre the Giant, but then Rey Mysterio like climbs up Andre the Giant's like singlet and like just kind of nestles in his singlet like a Kangaskhan, nestling in a little baby Kangaskhan. Rey Mysterio's in the pouch of Andre the Giant. So whenever Hulk Hogan tries to slam him, it's just too heavy. Rey Mysterio's increased bulk. It's too much for Hulk Hogan. And his spine comes out of his back, I guess. And
Time's up.
oh, well, Hulk Hogan falls over and then Andre the Giant pins him.
Thanks to Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, then Rey Mysterio gets back in his car, gives a jaunty wave goodbye to Andre the Giant, and then travels back into the future, which is the present.
He saved the day again.
Yeah.
I just love how, like, instead of, like, so what kind of thing has a pouch? Like, I like how you said Kangas can instead of a fucking kangaroo. Like,
yeah. Yeah, well, I have to go with my most logical frame of reference, and as you know, Pokemon is my frame of reference for everything. I do that a lot. Like, I'll see something, I'll be like, oh, that's a thing, and I'm like, no, that's the Pokemon name for it. You know, like tadpoles. I'm like, it's a little Poliwag. I'm like, no.
Do you not love going to the aquarium and seeing all those sea kings and all those?
But like a goldfish, like it's a little Goldeen, you know?
Yeah, that essentially is, isn't it? Like Pokemon are based on animals, aren't they? So, and other things like fucking trash and and keys. And stuff,
ice creams. Whenever I see an ice cream,
ice cream,
it's a little vanilla.
Oh boy. Thanks again, Tom, for that K15 Bowler submission. And if you want to submit your own K15 Bowler for one of our Making Kayfabe posts to play, well, let me tell you, it's fucking easy. All you have to do is submit 4 wrestler names and 4 scenarios on Twitter at Making Kayfabe or via email at makingkayfabe@gmail.com, and we'll include them on the episode and give you a big old shout out too. And that was Making Kayfabe. Hey guys, if you enjoyed my rebooking of Taka Michinoku today, if you enjoyed that, then there's a whole lot more where that came from, as well as another 9 episodes coming every Tuesday in our current season. You can go back and check out all of our rebookings of Luke Harper and Mike Awesome from this season, or even just go back further and hear us rebook the AEW Women's Division, or the Summer of Punk, Sean O'Hare, Otis Dozovic, the Sandman, fucking Dean Malenko, aka Dean Malenko, and more.
Yay! And Paris Saturn.
And Perry Saturn, yeah. Don't forget Perry Saturn. They're forgotten radicals. But you can find us on Twitter at Making Kayfabe. You can email us any feedback you have or suggestions at makingkayfabe@gmail.com. Are you feeling a little bit chilly this winter and need a little bit of an extra layer? Look no further than the official Making Kayfabe t-shirt collection featuring designs by Blank Page Digital. You can find those at makingkayfabe.redbubble.com. That's right, you can find them at makingkayfabe.redbubble.com. Get yourself some sweet Making Kayfabe merch. And hey, if you don't want to do any of that, then, a 5-star review for our show on whatever podcast app you're listening to this on will be plenty to help us out. And that's that. So Dylan's going to be back in the hot seat next week. You got any clues for the listeners, Dylan?
I have, yes, I'll give a little clue out. So you mentioned today that your episode about Taka Michinoku took place at the same time as my Mike Awesome one from the week before. So those are both rooted in the Attitude Era. But my storyline next week, a little bit more recent, very recent, in fact.
Nice.
Nice. I think, let's say the last couple of years.
Nice
Let's
one.
put that time frame on it.
That's good. We've not done many recent ones. We've done Retribution and Otis, but that's kind of as recent as it's got. So yeah. Awesome, man. Looking forward to that. So, all right, you sexy awesome Kayfabers. Thanks for listening.
Yay!
And we're gonna see you, sexy awesome, and we'll see you next week. It's catching on. It's now a catchphrase. We'll see you next week for the next fun-packed edition of Making Kayfabe.